Yeah, this is definitely gonna be 2 parts. Alright, as far as me, I have a few questions. What is your job? I am currently in the military. Yeah, doing things. I'm not gonna say what branch, I'm not gonna say what I do. I just do things. It's not, what I do isn't really, it's not top secret or anything. I just don't want to share. Where have you lived, are currently living, and want to live? I have lived in Massachusetts for about my whole life until I was 18. When I was 18 years old, I moved to New York. And then from New York, I went to school there. I went to school to become an elementary school teacher. Then I traveled and lived in London for a semester because I wanted to learn what the education system was like there, and like I wanted to see if maybe I could become like a foreign exchange primary teacher. I came back from London after living there for a little bit, for a while. Lived there for a good like 6 months. Came back to the States, lived in Massachusetts again, and then from Massachusetts I moved to Texas, lived there for a year, and then from Texas I moved to, I'm currently in the process of moving. Right now I'm in Boston on vacation. I'm on vacation for a month. My vacation's about to end though, which is really sad. And then I'm about to move from Boston to Seattle. Other places I want to live, I really want to live in Japan because I think that's cool. And also a lot of the things when it comes to like the island is from Japan. A lot of like the myth and lore when it comes to the island of Bridgeport. How do you write? Well, like I already talked about that. How do you make your covers? I make my covers going to Canva.com. I find out a lot of people have started using it, and it's a great resource, great free resource to make covers if you know how to if you have some editing skills. And if not, I didn't have editing skills. If you saw my first covers, I kind of do cover evolution sometimes. And if you saw my first covers to my covers now, damn, my first covers were shit. They were absolute garbage. And now, they're still, they're decent. I like to think that they're decent. They've grown. This coffee's cold. I'm gonna drink it. Your favorite book? Yours, Wattpad in general. My favorite book is Freedom, because I wrote that for my wife before she was my wife and inspired her to become my wife. Second book would be Dear Taeyang, because it was just so much drama, and I love that book so much because it just takes you on an emotional roller coaster from the beginning, but it'll just play with your emotions until the very, very, very end. Secret Between Us is my third favorite because I wrote that book on a whim, and now it's grown so much, and it just makes me so happy. Wattpad in general, my favorite book on Wattpad in general. Oh my god, there's so many. I'm not a big reader. I should become though. I should be more of a reader because I need to work on my sentence structure. But yeah, werewolf books, and this one book that my best friend on Wattpad wrote. But she's more of a historical fiction writer. I randomly stumbled upon her book because she was in a contest that I was in, and we became close friends. So I like that book because of it. Where do I get my inspiration from? I get my inspiration from just daily living. My life is the "this is fine" meme. My life is like a tornado of things that happen. Yeah. How old am I? I'm 21. Yeah, which can be hard to believe considering I've done a lot. Are you gay? LGBT? Labels helped me find who I am, but right now I don't fit into any labels really, so I'm just, me. What inspired you to write? When I was 10 years old, my brother he's 6 years younger than me, so when I was 10, he was about 4. Yeah, that math seems correct. He absolutely was obsessed with Batman, but we were too poor to afford the Batman comics, and we had already read all the ones that we borrowed from the library. So I just started writing my own versions of the Batman story with the Graysons, which is where they get their name from. And I wrote this whole book, and I would write while I was in school, and then I would read it to him. And then my teachers told me that I should type it out, so I typed it out and gave it to them, and then they published this book called Next Generation, which was about the original Graysons, Tatiana and Richard. Not published it, but they put it into a little book, a spiral book, and they put it in the library to where people could borrow it and read it, and I thought that was really cool. They said that I was the next Hunger Games writer back then, and because Hunger Games was really popular when I was in school, so yeah. And then what inspired all the Grayson children? So I was placed in a foster family for I don't even remember how much time because I was there for a while. And the foster family had a lot of kids. They had 5 or 6 kids. It was 5 kids. 5 kids that was their own, and then they had me, and then they had all their friends, and it was a huge family squeezed in a very tight space. We went to Newport, Rhode Island, and visited the Newport mansions. And I was like, oh my god, what if the Graysons had all these kids? Can you shut up? I get it. You're stuck. Shut up. It scared the shit out of me. I took a lot of inspiration from that. I was like, yeah, what if Tatiana and Richard just had 10 kids? And all the 10 kids had their own life. And then each one had their own story about their life. I think that would be fantastic. And then they were all interconnected just because they're family. It's all about family. And yeah, so that's where the inspiration came from. Tatiana and Richard had Pierce, and then Pierce's kid Maddie had his own kids, and now his own kids have their own book, and it's whoa, it's just crazy. Do you know all of your characters? No, I do not know all of my characters that I have written, but yet somehow other people do. I was reading a comment the other day. Somebody was reading An American in London, and they commented I really love Henry's story, and I was like, who the flip is Henry? I had to go back and just not read, but I was just I had to sit there and think for a few moments as to who Henry was. That was one of my early series that I wrote, but yeah. Books you're working on now. I'm currently working on Saving Dr. Grayson, which has changed a lot. If you guys haven't noticed, I hope you haven't noticed. Changed from The Boy You Dreamed to black and white. JP was the original, and now I'm rewriting it. Because, what is it? Peter is this badass doctor by day, superhero by night, who gets no sleep, obviously. And he's dating this badass Joseph. And the two of them together are just badass. I love them so much. Yeah. Currently working on the Keeper's Promise. Keeper's Promise, that's a little fun one that I like. A lot of cheating. Very scandalous. Yeah, Nakoa and Rumi were my favorite little beans to write with. Just because Nakoa is so sweet and so loving, and he loves everybody else, and he cares about everybody else except himself, even when he's such a little wee baby. He's very precious. And then you have Rumi, and he's just a little sneaky monster. So then Nakoa, they grew up, and then you find out that Nakoa got with Nico, and they got married just because Nakoa wanted to take care of Nico because Nico was poor and broke and whatever. And then they got divorced, and Nico's by himself in the Silent Storm. I don't know why I keep saying The Secret Between Us. It's not The Secret Between Us. Yeah, he's kind of by himself in the Silent Storm, and he's running away from Nakoa. And you're like, why is he running away from Nakoa? Nakoa's the sweetest being ever. And yeah, we're gonna get that whole story as to what happened with Nakoa, Sebastian, and Nico. Books that I'd love to do in the future would be J. Dean, and Mahina. So if you don't know who Mahina is Taeyoung and Aiden's little girl. And if you don't know who Taeyoung and Aiden are, they're in The Secret Between Us Part 2. This is us, right? Yeah. So, no, wait. Are they in this? These are born. He's in the third one. So, Taeyoung and Aiden died, and then became spies of Bridgeport. And there are these world-class spies, and Taeyoung is this assassin/spy. Like, I would love to do, because right now at this point, where I'm at, Taeyoung and Aiden are definitely still alive somewhere. So I would love to do like this dystopian where like Jadine and Mahina, just like these badass women, just go and find her parents. What happened to Maddie when he was 13 to 16? Yeah, because you learn in the second book that Maddie was kicked out of his house when he was 13 because he was being a little shit to Eli, who's now Kai, from when he was 13, and when he came back when he was like 16, because when he was 16, 17, he came back when he was like 16 or 17. Yeah. Definitely 16 or 17, he came back and he started NCB with Eli. So what happened between he was 13 and 16? You see like a little glimpse that he went to the island and did some butt kicking. But he was like known as like the Tasmanian Devil because Maddie was a whole mess. Like if you unleash, like they had to bring him to the island of Bridgeport in a cargo box because they had to put him to sleep and put him in a cargo box and put him in like, they like carried him in the private jet, of course, but like he didn't even put him in the cargo of the plane. But the fact they had to put this boy in a box because he was like being so mean and aggressive to everybody, and he was just like kicking and screaming and whatever, and they had to like, it was like he's this whirlwind tornado of anger and fury, and like that part is probably going to be in Saving Dr. Grayson, because right now we're on Saving Dr. Grayson season 1, because there's so much of Peter's story that I cannot fit in like one book, because if I put all of Peter's story in one book, that bitch is gonna be like 200 chapters. We're gonna reach the Wattpad limit, so that's gonna be like a series. Another scene that makes me really emotional, that I read it the other day and I freaking cried. Like I cried. What? Like, I legit just broke down, and I wasn't even having an emotional moment. Like, I'm happier than I've ever been right now, and I cried when I read this scene. So yeah, he goes and sees his dad, and his dad is, like, in the hospital. And his dad is just, like, laying on the hospital bed, and the next day was when Taeyoung is gonna fly out to France and go perform this solo without his dad, because his dad is in a coma, so he's about to go do like the most important dance of his life, and it was choreographed. He choreographed it himself, and it was for his dad. Like the whole, like it's this really dramatic dance that he does, depicting how lost he is without his dad, because his dad is in a coma. And so he goes up to his dad, and he just like lays, and he's this little 5-year-old boy, and he just lays his head on his dad's like chest, because his chest is like, he's on a ventilator, so his chest is just rising and falling, and so he like lays his head on his dad's chest to listen to his heart beating, with an earbud in one ear. He puts his little earbud in the other ear of his dad's ear, and then he starts playing the music that he's about to dance to in France for this recital, and he plays the song. And like the song itself just says that this is for his dad, and like just talking about that scene gets me so freaking emotional, like cause he's just laying there like he's so sad. It's so sad. And then he goes to the recital, and like he does this, and he does great, he does amazing, and he speaks again. But his dad doesn't even wake. Like, he's like, maybe if I do this dance, like maybe afterwards, like my dad's gonna wake up. And his dad still doesn't wake up, and it's just so sad. But yeah, that part still gets me emotional to this day. Ah! So yeah, I'm Riley Caleb. This has been Ask Me Absolutely Anything. Maybe we'll do this again in the future. Maybe I'll do it again when the book reaches, like, I don't know, 500K. This will not be here. I'm currently in Boston visiting family. But yeah, this has been fun. This has been fun to just sit here. It is now almost 12 o'clock, and I started this at 9. So, like, I have a lot of editing ahead of me. But this has been fun, being with you guys and talking to you and telling you what happened. So yeah.